Okay, everyone, I think we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 19th Color Bold Spotlight. My name is Mia Jung. I work for UW Madison Division of Extension, and I focus on economic development with entrepreneurs of color in Northeast Wisconsin. And I partner very closely with the Color Bold Business Association on a variety of programs such as the Color Bold Spotlight. And I have the great honor to introduce to you today the 19th Spotlight with Adrian Ortega. And here's a little introduction to him. A home is where family and dreams come true. Real estate agent Adrian Ortega carries out his work with a strong work ethic, great diligence, and quality of service. He was born in Laredo, Texas, and raised in Wisconsin, and is bilingual and speaks fluently English and Spanish. Previous to Adrian's real estate career, his work experiences range from selling bubblegum and fireworks on the streets of Mexico to selling life insurance and now real estate. Adrian also attended John Casablanca Modeling Acting School, which helped him appreciate the power of a positive first impression and how to maintain a high level of integrity and professionalism. Adrian, how are you doing today? What did you want to add anything to that introduction?
No, I mean, it's kind of a little bit about me, my work ethic and a little bit of my background of what I've came from. I've always been working ever since I was 8. So one thing, I've always known the value that comes from hard work. So, and that's what I try to deliver is the value and everything that I do. But, I'm doing pretty great, grateful. Just another day that I'm healthy and, I get to do kind of what I love.
Good.
Just got out of our broker meeting and a lot of stuff is changing. So, it's just got to be very very optimistic and, just recognize a lot of these opportunities coming this way.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're really well-rounded with all of this different experiences, selling different products, doing different things, going to modeling, acting school. So we'll dig into some of that. I just want to tell the audience here, this is an interactive experience. So if you want to chime in and ask Adrian a question, please do. Just do that in the chat box and we'll be sure to have Adrian answer your question. Now, first of all, Adrian, can you just tell us a little bit about what motivated you to get started in the real estate business?
Well, it was kind of strange. Me growing up in a Hispanic family, we're always kind of looking for a job, a good paying job for security. And it wasn't until after college is when I had that decision of, I knew it was something in business, even though I was a bio major, but nothing pushed me up until I was out of college. I had my mistakes, wasted my 2 years. And then I finally, I had an eye opener and I said, you know what, I just started building this entrepreneur. I started searching personal development, things to grow. And as I started mapping out my goals and my vision, I started to see that it started to align a little bit more on the selling side and real estate side or financial industry side with life insurance. And so I look back at everything that I was doing, because at the time I was a waiter. After college, I was a waiter. I was selling Amway, which is a nutritional product. You're kind of technically self-employed. And then I started selling, the life insurance. And then I was like, I want to see how I can deliver more of a value. Okay, back then I didn't understand too much about life insurance, so that's kind of another reason why I kind of stepped down from that one. And then I decided more of the real estate world, because the real estate for me felt a little bit make more sense. And it's about achieving a dream. And, it's one of the biggest purchases someone's going to make in their life, which is, a home.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of what motivated me is I needed to find a way that I enjoyed serving the many.
Sure.
And I find just joy after, we close on the house or we get an offer accepted, or, the seller gets what they were looking for and then and at on their home. And it's just this almost like a satisfying uh releasing here, that
Yeah.
knowing that I helped someone. And I just know that as we serve the many, later on, life will return the service. As you
Sure.
give, shall receive. I'm always kind of been about like that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Adrian. Was there anybody in particular that inspired you or mentored you through this to make this decision?
Um, Not necessarily. Well, I did have kind of like I will call him my mentor. He was kind of like a business philosopher and dealt a lot with his personal development, and his name was Mr. Jim Ron. And he dealt in a lot of like these fundamentals in life that can be applied anywhere. But normally a lot of times he was giving a lot of seminars on business, but these business life lessons can be applied anywhere in your
Sure.
life, you know? So he kind of inspired me and motivated me, because there was kind of, how the old saying goes, birds of a feather flock together.
Sure.
You hang around with four losers, you're gonna be the fifth one. And I was kind of reevaluating my life, my environment, my who I was talking to, who I was associating myself with.
Mhm.
And I really had to do kind of like a paradigm shift in my own head, which completely changed how I look at mornings, how I look at difficulties, challenges in life, and everything is a test.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I
That's your
a
journey there.
little bit of
Yeah.
my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's so interesting to hear how important it is to have that support system around you
Hmm.
when you do start this new venture. And there might be people out there in our audience or who might watch this later on who also want to explore a real estate career, realtor career. What would you suggest, Adrian, for them to take the first steps toward that?
I think one of the biggest first steps you should take, because the toughest year for a realtor is that very first year. It's from 6 to 12 months. And I don't know if you've seen some of the statistics and average. A lot of them drop out because it's a different change. There's being an entrepreneur is kind of like being an entrepreneur when you're self-employed. You kind of are paying yourself by your production. Um, I would always suggest that you make sure you work on your list of why you want to do it,
Mhm.
because that first year, you're not necessarily gonna make the income that you are looking for or desiring, but it's more gonna be a learning process, and the learning process is teaching yourself to from being of the instant gratification to the big delayed result that's going to come in
Mhm.
6, 12 months from now. Because everyone knows in real estate, you don't make your money on that first showing. You don't get
Right.
paid on that first showing. Sometimes it takes you to nurture buyers 6, 12, a year, 2 years, sometimes even 3 years. You know,
Sure.
it takes a lot of uh, discipline in learning the passion of time, and
Mhm.
learning that as you in real estate, the reward is much bigger because there's a lot more work that goes in between.
Mhm.
um, so I always say, if you're going to go into real estate, you have to kind of do a shift in here, and you're an entrepreneur now.
Mhm.
You got to do your own marketing, your own advertising, making sure you're well established. Your image changes on social media. You have to be careful kind of about your vocabulary, and you must be constantly educating yourself to keep yourself inspired, and also knowing what's going on in the market. Because once you're an entrepreneur, you're not just one business now. You're stepping into the world of the small businesses,
Right.
and so I always suggest, yes, definitely have work on your list of whys.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to push you through and make you really resilient in that first year. And if you can get past that first year, the second year gets a little easy. The third year gets you start to see the results from the few disciplines done correctly, which is following up, learning the passing of time, and sometimes disciplining your disappointments, because there's a lot of doors that are gonna get shut. I was doing door knocking and hanging those putting stuff in the what do you call on the doors, the little pamphlets.
The handle.
Yeah, door handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that every month. Every month I would do it
Wow.
2 to 3 times in these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And I might have landed 1 or 2, but it wasn't necessarily to land anything. It was just to let the community know and aware that, hey, you have a new local agent that would love to help you out, and he's an expert on the market. So,
right. So you're building up your name, your brand, your reputation that first year, kind of starting to build those relationships. And then, but to become a realtor, you do need to get through training and get certified, right?
Yeah. You need to get trained and certified. So you'll go through the WRA, for Wisconsin Real Estate Association.
Okay.
Normally it's around 72 hours, 72, 74.
Okay.
I did it in a week and a half because I slammed it.
Oh, man.
I've always been, as I go back to Mr. Jim Ron, and he says, take action when the emotion is strong. If the longer that I wait, the more that emotion diminishes. So I needed to use that as I had it, because back then I didn't have it. I had to switch my mindset and to kind of light whatever I had in here up on fire so I could, take that risk, because it's a risk. Being self-employed, it's a risk. And that's why they say, those who take bigger risks are usually the ones who are reaping the big rewards. And those are the ones you're seeing out there, in control of their life, because they've taken the risk. And that's why I say, have a big enough reason why you want to do real estate. Because if you're going to do it because of money, you're not going to get nowhere. You have to do it for the service of the many. You have, that's what that's how some of the great life insurance people who sell life insurance make it.
Sure.
They are bringing the value. They're not selling you anything. They're bringing the value.
It really sounds, Adrian, and this is also based upon an interview I did with Yolanda Martin last year, and she's also a realtor in the area, and she said, goodness, relationship building is everything. To have that strong relationship, and then the word of mouth. Of course you can have the billboards and all of that too, but she was saying it's so important, like really to invest in those relationships. So that really rings. And then when you got started, Adrian, when was it when you got started exactly?
I think it was sometime in 2019.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, I believe, or
because I remember connecting with you in 2020, and I think you were kind of new-ish.
Yeah, I was still newish, but I started somewhere around 2019, and I was with a cloud-based firm, which wasn't necessarily a physical firm. And to me, that wasn't helping me out in how to learn anything about real estate. So then I, went on to another firm, and this firm had a little bit of training, but at the end of the day, I felt like it wasn't necessarily the training that I needed, but I needed to put myself somewhere where the standards were risen. You know, I
Mm.
needed to put myself somewhere where you have some of the top real estate agents in the United States, you
Sure.
know, in the whole state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of what pushed me out to put myself in a place where I could, uh, it's like an unconscious influence on your performance and on your decisions and on your habits, because
Mhm.
you start seeing how some of these high performers are doing, and you start almost like uh, taking notes, you know,
Sure.
kind of, you know, how they're talking, kind of what they're doing, kind of the schedules. You know, when they're in the office, you know, they're working, you know, they're running up and down,
You're
getting
studying
some,
them. You're learning from them. Yes.
yeah. And you know, success leaves clues. That is, it's been written in books, and I always believe that, you know, that's why they always say find a mentor. Normally, a mentor is someone who's been there, you know, who's achieved it. That's a mentor. You know, you can't have a mentor call someone a mentor who hasn't been there. It's a little, it's a little tough because they don't know the feeling of achieving that,
Mhm.
or how they did it. But if you can find someone who's already achieved what you are seeking to achieve, that's like that's kind of turning decades into days, because you're gonna save so much time in there by
Mhm.
learning what the disciplines to do and the disciplines not to do. That's
So
kind
really
of,
pick the people around you to
oh
make sure
yeah,
you're getting the right influence to be successful.
yes. I mean, your environment, uh, it can put a big effect on you if it's not aligned to where it's gonna put you to that goal, that vision that
Mhm.
you're seeking um to achieve.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. What about, like, I hear a lot about your mentor, this person that was really important to you.
Mhm.
Did you get any formal business support too, Adrian, from any like business resource organizations, anything like that when you got started?
Not normally any business support at all. I just had like you know, um it was really tough for me to find someone who that I could connect with. So I had to not reach out to, it was tough because I was like, I don't know who is willing to take the time out to teach me.
Yeah, right.
And in the real estate world, everyone's busy. You know, they can show you here now and then, but they can't necessarily teach the real art of sales, you know, the art of communication, the art of relationships. They can't. It's something that you almost have to seek it yourself in order for you to really understand it, that you
Yeah.
and then develop a habit where you apply it on your daily base, you know, those skills. um, so it wasn't necessary. So I was reaching back out to books written in the 1900s, in the 1800s. 1700 was one of the oldest ones, but all they deal with is kind of business philosophy, work ethic, habits, disciplines, and personal development. And then also with being an entrepreneur, you have to be very mm, I would say very disciplined in your thinking too, because you have to stand guard to the door of your mind. There's gonna be a lot of negativity thrown at you. You're gonna have a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges. So being strong in here is critical. And
Mhm.
that's why the books and the mentoring, and maybe listening to a few inspirational videos on a daily basis, um, especially on a weekly basis, but on a daily basis, you can um, helps tremendously, and they can help you push through those obstacles. Because I mean, there really are no limitations to our mind except the ones we acknowledge. And those limitations that we are acknowledging are the ones that are limiting us from bridging this gap to this reality that you desire, or in this lifestyle that you desire to live. So that's kind of I'm always
Sure.
for mentorship. I don't have a lot of mentors or anything. My parents have taught me to work hard,
Mhm.
one thing is, they're still putting in 12 hours a day. I was like, man, I gotta work. They're always been my inspiration.
Mm.
And but finding mentors sometimes is a little tough in some business areas, but if there are mentors out there and they don't necessarily have to be alive. There's mentors whose words are still being used today. There's
Mm.
those great business philosophers, or even like Albert Einstein. I mean, come on, we're still using his theories today.
I love that you're bringing up readings to refer as mentors. I think that's really insightful, and to really find your inspiration, not only like interpersonally, but you can really find it anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's when you're reading some of these words that these, we call them some of the great thinkers, the great pioneers, the philosophers, and everything are kind of changing our civilization and everything as society. I mean, I think learning from them, they have a few tips that are good, that you could really, really save. You could save 10, 20, 30 years in errors and judgment by reading one book. So I don't watch a lot of social media. I'm not on TV. I don't necessarily watch a lot of movies. I have a library, pretty good library.
Okay, nice. I was just going to ask you, maybe you can provide us with your top 3 books or something later on.
Yeah,
like, write that down for me and I can post it.
Yes,
but
I do get some.
That would be really interesting to just like Adrian's favorite inspirational books throughout the times. And
Yeah.
so do you think too, though, Adrian, like you really getting your business going when I mean, pretty much during the shutdown and during COVID, what have you learned through that, going through that kind of a difficult time for any small business owner? And if
Yes.
there's anything that you would have done differently looking back?
Yes, those were kind of great. I would say little crazy times.
Yeah.
Because it was a big shocker, obviously, to the world when all this hit. And for me, it was like, oh man, now this is the officially moment where I'm about officially practicing real estate, but pandemic hit. The COVID hit everything, and it was tough because not everyone wanted to see houses. Open houses stopped. A lot of showings were being stopped. So to me, it was okay. It was obviously there was pros and cons. We lost a lot of lives, but and may everyone rest in peace. But they taught us the more of the true value of health and relationships.
Mm.
The average number went from, I think, I don't know if it was 30 or 40% of a phone call being picked up by a random number, all the way up to like 80 to 90%.
Really?
So I was looking at these numbers like everyone's answering the phone. Why? Because this is the moment where it's the time to reach out to say, hey, how are you doing? I just wanted to check in on you to see how you're doing health wise. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out. Oh, and by the way, I just started selling real estate. I just became a real estate agent, and I'm a small business owner. If you would love to help me out in any way, by spreading the word, I would love it.
Sure.
And also, we could always say too, when you check in on it, hey, if you need any contacts, I have all the contacts, which is any contractor, electrician, plumber, with landscaping, etc. That's kind of, once we're doing it for such a long time, you build these huge resources.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing is that a lot of folks don't know is how resourceful a real estate agent could be, or a broker could be. But yeah, definitely when the pandemic hit, it was more of write letters for me. I probably read, like, I had a small sphere. I didn't grow up around the Oshkosh area. I'm originally from Texas. Growing up in here in these small towns, we were always in the countryside. So we never went to big schools. My graduating class was like 22 or 25.
Mm.
you know, here in Wild Rose, Wisconsin. Um, so I was, yes, I it was more the moment, write letters, reach out, make phone calls, even if they're not answering,
Mhm.
keep writing letters, making sure that, they're okay.
Sure.
And sooner or later, those few people recognize it. And many of them replied back to me saying, "Oh, thank you, man," or "Thank you, so kind of you." Um,
So it
Even people
opened
who
up
I,
for more connection potentially because of how the world was at the time, or still to a certain
yeah,
extent is. Yeah.
yeah. And it was just letting them know that whatever is going on, that, I was there.
Mm.
Whether it's a friend, I told them whether it's a friend or, like I said, I read a lot. I know a lot of many quotes. I can apply many quotes to write. I can write. It's like a library in my head, and I can go, all right, this is the right saying that you need right now. So for you to see the message that you're seeking or whatever you're searching, because when you're overcoming challenges, there's an answer that will be the solution for what's going on right now and that problem that whatever you're facing.
Mhm.
So I always let them know, even as a friend, I'm open, and I'm able to level down to a way where we can both communicate at a comfortable level. Um, so those are kind of what I did starting out. And yes, my results didn't come in until like later on, 8, 9, 10 months later. So
Yeah.
it was tough. I had to be working somewhere, trying to make some money and keep up with my expenses, because one of the difficulties of being your first year is learning being disciplined with your finances.
Sure. Yeah, and like you said, the first year is trickiest too, with building a lot of relationships and all of that. Kimyata is chiming in here saying good afternoon to you, Adrian, in the chat box. I just wanted to wrap up with a couple more questions. First, what are you most proud about in your business so far, Adrian?
I'll be honest, a lot of my business now is coming from well, a lot of Hispanics, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, a lot of yeah, a lot of people. And I'm pretty proud that I'm helping a little of kind of like a little bit of my, I
Mhm.
know, uh,
Latinx community.
yeah, Latinx community. That's always been something for me, knowing that I know that not only do I have this fear, but I also have this fear,
Mhm.
that I can hit, that I can target, because I'm bilingual. So one
Mhm.
thing is, I'm proud of how I'm helping my community.
Yeah.
I'm proud how um, kind of the small footprint that I'm starting to put in, and the value that I'm bringing in. But I just know that there's more to come.
Yeah.
More value is going to come from me,
Yeah.
and that's to come in the future. And, we got big goals, big plans,
Mm.
with our company here with Expert Real Estate Partners. Uh, you know, Especially right now with what's going on in the economy and in the market. I
Mhm.
always say stay out of the social media, um, because I always say this. The sun comes and it rises every single day, just
Mhm.
as the night comes. You know, all the time, just as the
True.
wave comes in and out. You know, things are gonna things always go up and they come down,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna be, I would say, like back in '08. The one thing is, properties are holding their value nowadays. They're just not growing at a $50,000 to $70,000 increase a year. They're just gonna grow in slower value. But the crazy part is, we had a broker meeting today, and we got some of the stats, and it says that the equity value in the properties in the U.S. grew by $3.1 trillion, which
Wow.
is insane, right? So
Mhm.
real estate right now, it's holding its value more than it's ever been. The
Yeah.
only thing is that it's not going to be jumping like the crazy amounts of money that we were seeing back then, that folks were just paying like if it was candy, like giving candy away.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Adrian. And I'm really glad you brought up the fact that you feel like you're helping your community through your work. And I have noticed that I've lived in Appleton for about over 10 years, and I've noticed more business owners of color in general. I've also noticed more realtors of color, both Latinx, Hmong, Black. Do you think this is a correct observation, like that there are more realtors of color out there now? And what do you think is driving that change, if you agree?
Well, not just that, yes, one thing is we are seeing that more. I've seen more Hispanics, more Hmong, more ethnicities coming in. And I believe the reason is because we're becoming such a multicultural state here, not just the state, but the whole US is becoming such a huge multicultural, state. That I believe that now I know a lot of brokers, and brokers are seeking for, these different ethnicity buyers, because sometimes it does, give you more of a comfortable level if you can find someone who speaks it fluently, whatever language that they speak, because real estate is an area where there's a lot of, especially when you're reading the contracts, a lot of stuff that needs to be explained clearly, because it is a legal binding contract.
Sure.
And you want to always make sure that you're competently explaining the offer to your buyer or seller to the point where they understand it enough, where they are comfortable with it, because a lot of stuff can happen if
I hear
things
you.
aren't explained correctly in the contract.
Like you're saying, it's a huge purchase. It's a big milestone for a lot of people to purchase the first home or another home. To know all of the ins and outs, it's going to take some really good communication. And if being bilingual or having the cultural competency, to reach that person really where they're at, I could really see that being really important. Now, Adrian, we are going over time because this is such a good conversation. Do you have any final words of wisdom to other entrepreneurs out there who may be looking into real estate, or anything that you can think of to wrap up our spotlight today?
Yeah, I would say is find a big enough reason why you want to achieve this goal or this desire. And once you find enough reasons why, and I'm telling you, make like maybe 2 or 3 pages of reasons why you want it. And then I would say get a book, a personal growth book. There's a lot of personal growth books out there, personal development books. I will drop some of them I will tell Mia about some of them that can help you start to develop the entrepreneur mindset, because it is a shift that you're going to have to do. So yes, find a big enough reason why. You're going to have to find some personal development books, and then try to find a mentor, someone you can tie into, lean on. And like I said, they don't have to be alive, present right now in these days, but if they are, that's the better, but those are kind of 3 things that I advise you for any entrepreneur, and that it will help you in anything you desire to pursue.
Thank you so much, Adrian. I really appreciate all you shared with everybody today. I think you shared some really good and important information, and some of your own journey that always helps when somebody is maybe on this journey themselves, or just want to learn more about what it is that it means to be a real estate agent. And so I just wanted to wrap up also with saying thank you everyone who came out on Sunday for Color Bold's pop-up shop in Green Bay. It was a hugely successful event. We had over 30 business owners there. We had several business resource organizations and over 100 shoppers. So I just want to give a big shout out. It was such a wonderful event, and we look forward to many more. Thank you again, Adrian, and we will be in touch.
All right, take care.
Take care.